Hey guys, I am here today with a ARC review of a brand new title from Mia Sosa. There was a lot of buzz last year about Mia's book, The Worst Best Man, and now she has a follow-up book called The Wedding Crasher. So I received this as an advanced review copy from Edelweiss and the publisher, and I thank them very much for the free review copy so I can give you a fair and honest review. So, if you're wondering about what the connection is to The Worst Best Man, Max, who is the dude from Worst Best Man, has a friend named Dean. And in the beginning of the book, Dean is getting married. No, we didn't skip the whole book. Yes, the first chapter is Dean's wedding, or almost wedding. So again, if you think in your Wayback Machine, if you read The Worst Best Man, there is Lena, and Lena and one of her cousins, Jasleen, they do weddings and wedding stuff. And they are working on Dean's wedding, and in a last minute need for some extra hands, they call in their cousin Solange. Solange and her family, they are all Brazilian Americans, and Lena, Jasleen, Solange, they are part of this like very tight group of Brazilian American women. I think there's like one son, but a lot of them are single moms who had daughters. There is one brother, but so just like a very tight knit, like whenever you need me, I come. So Solange shows up, and while she is helping, like off to get something for the bride, whose name is Ella, they're wondering where she is, and so Solange goes and tries to find her and wanders in on Ella confessing her feelings to someone who is not her groom. And so Solange, freaking out, like, is it my place to talk about this? What do I do? And so she's just like, nope, not gonna think about it, goes to try to find something else, runs into one of the hottest men she's ever seen. Come to find out, he is the groom. That's Dean. So the wedding is going on. Solange is in the back of the room. She's trying not to say anything. And then the priest does that thing where he's like, does anyone object? And Solange says, yes, I do. Because she thoroughly believes that Dean is in love with someone who doesn't love him back, and that Ella is in love with someone who she's not marrying. And Ella decides, oh my God, you're right, I can't go through with this, and runs away. What you find out later is that Dean and Ella were in what Dean calls a modern day marriage of convenience. Dean is on the track at his law firm to become a partner before he's 30, and his life has steps in it. So step 1 was to get the law firm job. Step 2, find someone to share his life with, very, very measured steps. And Ella was also very ambitious and wanted to focus on her career, and so they thought that, a marriage would be a partnership for both of them. But Dean realizes that Ella has been lying to him, but he's not very broken up about their breakup. Solange, needless to say, feels real bad about this, but that seems to be the end of their story, except for 2 things that happen independently. First of all, some of Solange's cousins are coming to visit, and this is like the one aunt and cousins. This aunt married a man and stayed married to him, and he has helped her raise her children. So there's this feeling among the single mothers in this group that this woman, Claudia, looks down on them. And Solange's mom, in a fit of pique, says, well, no, Solange is dating someone and it's very serious. And so Solange now has to find this serious boyfriend. And Dean is trying so hard to make partner, and he's put in a situation where he's going to smooge a potential new lawyer for the firm, but the partners don't think he can do it because he doesn't have a romantic partner. And so he says, well, I'm together with the woman who crashed my wedding. So needless to say, they end up meeting each other. I was not sure how I was going to feel about this book. I liked The Worst Best Man. I didn't think that it was spectacular, but I liked it. And I was like, oh my God, like, oh, she crashes his wedding. Like, that's weird. Like, that's the definition of a guy on the rebound. So I did like that Dean seemed very, very chill with that. And they clearly, from the beginning, have very opposite personalities. But with that being said, the way that Dean dealt with this marriage, I was like, oh my God, he's the stereotypical guy trope I can't stand, which is that, you know, when there's like one partner who's like very buttoned up and career focused, and then the other partner, and this is usually the woman, is, you know, freewheeling and free-spirited and travels all around, and whose life is kind of a mess and needs someone to offer stability and focus. And I really thought that that was what they were setting up. But what you find out about Solange is that she is currently teaching at a continuing adult education school, focusing on people who, for whatever reason, the school system in America didn't work for them, but trying to help these people get GEDs and jobs and really position them for work and life success. And she has big visions for this. She's there while she's finishing her master's degree. So for all that, in the beginning of the book, Solange really did feel like she was positioned to kind of be all over the place. It comes through very quickly that while she has a happy and fun personality, she is driven and she does have a life plan and goals, and she has traveled, and so she's not just like, ah, which is what I was really concerned they were setting up. So needless to say, I don't have to necessarily tell you how the fake dating trope is going to go. You can probably get a flavor of that from there. There are some great side stories, like the thing with Solange's mom and her sisters / Solange's cousins and aunt and uncles. The family dynamic there is really beautiful. You do get to see more of Lena and Max. And then on Dean's side, there is also a lawyer who is fighting for partner who's trying to sabotage Dean. And it really was wonderful to see Dean especially just kind of loosen up around Solange. In this case, it really was like she was mostly fine as she was. There's some stuff that happens later on, but it really is like Dean unlearning some really awful behavior. And again, I'm always really concerned about that, you know, that driven guy, lawyer, powerful businessman versus the freewheeling, like, love woman thing. I don't often like the way that that's set up, but this book did something really, really interesting, which is that it had both Dean and Solange raised by single mothers. And their experiences were very similar, so it gives them a lot of common both emotional and life experience. But the way that they handled that situation and the different ways that their mothers handled that situation caused them to both react in sometimes good and sometimes kind of harmful ways. And I really loved and forgave this book for having set them up as such personality opposites, because it just became a much more complicated conversation about coping. And I'm not saying that like having a single mom is something to cope with. Their mothers are obviously very amazing, strong women, which comes through very strongly, and I think their eventual friendship is great. But it's just, it became more of less of a like, you know, opposites attract, very one-dimensional story, and became a much more nuanced, complicated, whole family involved conversation, which made, I think, this book just much better than I expected when I started it. I do think that in the end, a couple of things came together a little bit too cleanly. I am not a fan of like the last second, oh, isn't this magical, to like perfectly tie the ending, but that's a really, really poor thing to say about a romance novel, because more often than not, that is what's going to happen. I just prefer that some of these things have foreshadowing. I don't like when they pop out of nowhere, but I did think that it was very cute, and everything, you know, was super cutesy in the end. It's a romance novel, man. What more do you want, I guess? To sum up, this book, I think on the surface, was a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily interested in. First of all, the idea of Solange crashing the wedding just filled me with a lot of secondhand anxiety. And then the way I thought their relationship was being positioned was that, you know, she would have to become someone she wasn't to impress, you know, his hoity-toity work colleagues, and, you know, he was going to be learning to love his life through her, which again is a fine story, but I'm tired of it, and it's often not done well. But I'm really glad that I gave this book the time that I went through and I finished it, because like I said, I feel like as it goes on, it gets way more interesting. So that would be the biggest takeaway that I have for you, is that even if you look at it and you're like, I don't know about this trope, I don't know about this setup, it is very unique and is very nuanced in ways that the blurb doesn't give it credit for. So this comes out very soon, so if you have not already, I know at my library it's already available to get on the hold list for, so you can go and do that or put in a pre-order at your local bookstore. But I just loved how this just unfurled as it went on. So I hope that you too enjoy it if you decide to read it. If you don't, you know, come back and tell me, that's fine, and we can talk about it. I just want to talk about books. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the publisher and Edelweiss for the arc, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.